Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Module 1 lecture for concert touring. Today, we're going to talk about promoters, talent buyers, and booking agents. Hope everyone had a good week. Hope everyone is safe after the hurricane. We pushed Module 1 back a week, so Module 1 will start today, go until next Sunday, and then Module 2 will just be a week. And then after that, we be back on regular scheduled program with Module 3 and so on. As long as there's no other hurricanes that come this season. Let's hope not. Hope everyone's doing well. So let's get started. Diving into our first lecture for this class. Really excited. This class is literally my bread and butter. This is my life. It's almost like I can't get away from it. But no, I'm excited. Really excited to teach this. Music Business 1 and 2 are fun. Artist management's fun. But this is literally what I do day in, day out for AEG and have done for the past, how many years has it been now? 13, going on 14 years. So really excited to be teaching this course. And we're going to be looking at lots of deals in this course. Quick, little reminder, disclaimer. I get a little self-conscious. I have Tourette's, so if you guys hear this background sound or a sound that I constantly make, that's just my Tourette's wanting to be in the class and being on the recording. Anywho, so let's get started. Most important question, which can be the question every single class: which shows did you see this week? Music business is a lifestyle, as I've said many times before. If you have your Music Business 1 and 2, you've heard me say this like a broken record. If you want to be successful in the music business and you want to grow in the music business, you got to go to shows. It's a lifestyle. It's very different than any other career. It's a really fun career with a lot of benefits and, I don't know, just like a lot of cool opportunities to meet a lot of cool people and a little bit more freedom than the regular 9-to-5 grind. But it comes also with a lot of hours and being out a lot and being away from home a lot. So keep that in mind. But also, if to continue to be successful in this business, you got to go to shows. So go see shows. So if you guys want to, I don't know, if you want to send me a message, let me know what shows you want to see. We'll love to see it. Actually, you know what? It'd be kind of fun to get some dialogue started on these videos after I upload them on YouTube. So for extra credit, if you join the class live or you comment on the video which shows you went to see this week, you'll get some extra credit on the quiz for that module. I think it'd be fun. Maybe we'll do a point for or five. How about 5 points for leaving a comment, and then 5 points for commenting on someone else's comment about what shows they went to see. I think that'd be fun. And I'll leave a comment too, in case I'm the only one, or me and one student are the only ones. I'll leave a comment on what shows I went to see. But hopefully, it'd be great to get the class engaging, get you all to know each other. But because the first network that you guys are going to build with your fellow classmates. I think that's going to be very, very important. Some housekeeping. The first quiz for Module 1 is going to be deals and settlements. If you had me on Music Business 2, you've gone through this very, very in-depthly. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to share the link to my deals and settlements blog post with all the videos, and you only need to know the first 4. We're not going to do a promoter profit deal in Module 1. So Module 1 will be all the other deals except for the promoter profit deal. Let me add this here. So 4 deals, no promoter profit. But you will be doing promoter profit deals in this class, just not in Module 1. So those are the quadratic formula of the music business, settling one of those types of deals. But it's a very common deal. Once you understand those deals, they're not really that daunting. So that'll be quiz 1. So I'm gonna get that ready on Canvas tomorrow. I'll send y'all a note when that's ready, and then you'll upload it on the Canvas when you're done. Pretty easy, straightforward. So let's take a look. Who are the key players when it comes to concerts and touring? if you had me in Music Business 1, this is kind of the foundation we set in those classes. These are like the key players that we've already kind of touched on in those classes, but let's have a little bit of a review. So the booking agent, those are the people that represent the artists, and they book the tours with the artists. They work with the artist management or with the artist directly, depending how the artist team is set up. And then they start planning, routing, and figuring out when the artist can tour and figuring out when is the artist available to tour, right? Hey, Joycelyn, welcome to the class. I muted your mic. I think I'm gonna mute your mic, but if you want to chime in, have any questions, feel free to unmute your mic or just type it in the chat. Just want to try to prevent background noise in the recording for those that are watching the archive. All right, so booking agents, those are the people that are booking the shows for the artists, work with the artist team. The talent buyers, those are the ones that the booking agents are talking to. So they're talking to talent buyers to book their artists at different venues, clubs, festivals, private events, and so on. We'll go over some of those types of venues. And you know what? Since I can edit the slides, and put talent buyers / programmers. So that's a term we didn't use in other classes yet. So programmers are the exact same thing as a talent buyer. They work for a venue or for a company like Live Nation or AEG, and they work with the agents to book shows for artists that are on tour. The main difference in how these terms are used, talent buyers, it's almost like talent buyers are working for a for-profit company and programmers are working for a non-for-profit. That's like the easiest way to define that. Because usually like theaters, like PACs, performing arts centers. So remember that a PAC is a performing arts center. At PACs, they're usually called programmers. So they're programming directors or programming assistant and so on, where in the promoter world or club world, they'll be called talent buyers. So talent buyer, junior talent buyer assistant, and so on. Promoter, those are the people that take the risk and promote the shows, right? And the promoter can be the same person as the talent buyer. So it's an independent promoter and they're booking shows. They're both. They're the promoter and they're the talent buyer. Usually, on a bigger scale, the promoters are companies like Live Nation and AEG that have talent buyers that work for them. So their talent buyer is a position within a bigger company. So those are promoters. Promoters are companies that take the risks and promote the shows. And the other key players are the venues, right? Where the artists are playing. The venues themselves will either have a talent buyer or programmer that work for the venue. And a lot of times programmer can be used also when the venue doesn't take risk on their own shows. So what that means, they're always taking risk, right? When you're putting a show in your venue, there's always a risk involved. But what I mean, they're not responsible for the guarantees and the promotion of the show. So they'll have like, usually with bigger theaters or arenas or college arenas, they won't promote shows themselves. They'll have like Live Nation, AEG, outside promoters coming in to promote the shows at their venues. So a little bit of difference when you go bigger. In clubs, a lot of times they'll either do it all themselves or they'll also work with outside promoters as well. And I think it's like the best business model for a club, right? Because it's really impossible. It's not completely impossible. It's really challenging to compete with Live Nation and AEG if they're promoting shows in your city. So as a club, you want to try to book your own shows, but when it's a show that Live Nation or AEG wants to get involved in, it just makes sense to get them involved and let them promote the show, right? The benefit is if you're the venue owner, you reduce less risk, and by being friendly to outside promoters, you get more shows on your calendar. You have 365 days in your calendar that you need to be focusing on when you have a venue, and having other promoters that helps alleviate the amount of dates you have to book at your venue. They're like partners that help grow your business. And the cool thing is, when you're owning a venue, you shouldn't really be in it to necessarily book talent with agents. your goal should be to build the business of your venue and to grow the business of your venue. And I don't know, depending how ambitious you are with the venue, you can expand the business of that venue, right? So if you own a club, and let's say you only partner with Live Nation when it comes to the big promoters. Then you have like a couple of small promoters you work with, and then you promote some of your own shows, and you have some club nights and stuff and some rentals, right? If you really build a good business there to where now you have a 300, 400 person venue, and now you can open a 1,000 person venue because you're more focused on the business versus being the person that books talent with the agents. You can now open a second venue that can lead to maybe opening a venue in another city or starting a small festival. And guess what? Now you own assets, and that is super valuable to promoters that you work with and agents. And you never know. It happens all the time where Live Nation or AEG are buying up promoters because of the assets that they are buying up venues and promoters because of the assets they bring to the table, right? If you're a person that owns 3 venues, I mean, you are a promoter and a venue owner that works with other promoters, and you can almost like cash out in a way by selling those assets to Live Nation or AG in the future. So that's like a smart business model when if you're on the venue side of things. Other key player are the artist managers, and we've talked about that in Music Business 1 and 2, and pretty much in every class, the artist managers are the people that are responsible for the artist's career and growing their career, manage kind of the team around the artist. So these are the key players in the booking and touring business, but agents and managers would be the ones that are part of the artist team, where the promoters and talent buyers are not necessarily part of the artist team until it gets to a bigger level, right? So if you're booking like for AEG or Live Nation touring, or for a touring company that instead of just booking a show in your one club in your one city, if you're in touring, you're probably booking 20, 30, 40 dates with one of these promoters. And then you kind of part of the team because you're part in helping planning the marketing, you're helping planning the routing, like where the artists are going and so on. So promoters and talent buyers can be part of an artist team too, but usually it's the agent and the manager out of these key players. And then the manager would be the one sitting in on those meetings with those talent buyers, because again, the manager is responsible for the overall career of the artists that are going to be involved when tour talks are beginning. So next, the buyers. So there's many different types of buyers. So there's the promoters, so the promotions companies for who the buyers work for. So that's your Live Nations in the world, AEG, Nederlander, so many other national promoters. Then you have venues. Venues buy shows, right? So the buyers are anyone that will buy talent and book shows for artists. You have your venues, you have your colleges and universities. There's one-off events, private events. There's even restaurants. So I should probably add that in here. Restaurants, your festivals, casinos, right? Those are all your buyers. These are all the different types of people that will book talent for their properties, whatever those are, whether those are physical properties or like a festival. Next, the booking process. So let's talk about that. I'm gonna switch back and forward from the slides to have this really cool new thing here on Zoom, which is the whiteboard. So let me click over to here. So the whole booking process. First, you kind of try to, let me go back to the slide real quick. I'm having fun with this thing now. First begins like the routing and the planning, right? So and it's usually around an album or some kind of project. And I guess, we know we're talking about music business, but I'll dive into some of the other types of talents that are touring. The routing and planning for music is usually based around an album or some kind of project. So when an album comes out, the artist goes on tour to promote the album, to sell the album, to sell the singles on that album, and so on. So that's kind of when the tours are planned. If it's a comedian, it's kind of backwards, actually. Comedians will tour for a year or two to test out material and plan material before they record their specials. And then they'll record their special at the end of the tour. So anyone that went to see the comedian live has kind of seen the material already, especially when it's like a bigger comedian. I don't know if you ever have been to a comedy show, you guys here, but they have these pouches that they put your phones in called yonder pouches, so you can't have access to your phone during the comedy show. And they do that to prevent any kind of video recording, because again, they're testing out material for the next special on Netflix or so, and they don't want that material to be posted on YouTube because they haven't put it out there yet. So for comedians, it's kind of backwards. For YouTubers and Instagram influencers and so on, it kind of is sporadic here and there, can be in between projects they're doing, but usually those types of people are always creating content on a weekly basis. So really they can do their tour at any time. It's sometimes going to be just an annual thing. They go on tour once a year. They do it. I don't know, they might have a spring tour, a fall tour, whatever. It's very different for those types of talents. So let's go back to the whiteboard. So the first step in the process, right, is placing holds and sending out avails. So if you have an artist that's about to go on tour, you're figured out the routing. So the routing, where are you going to play? So you start in New York, you work your down the way to East Coast, you want to head over to Texas, go up to West Coast, to Seattle, kind of diagonally cut across the middle of the country to go down to Denver and Texas, and then shoot up to Chicago, whatever it is, right? So you're figuring out your routing first. Then once you have your routing figured out, let's say you start a tour in Miami, right? And I want to play Miami ideally on, what are we now in September? So let's say next year, April 3rd. That's my target date, right? So when I now reach out to the venues in Miami, I'm going to hold dates on April 1st, April 2nd, April 3rd, April 4th, and April 5th. So you always want to hold 2 days before and 2 days after your target date. Because when you're routing 20, 30, 40, 50, however big the tour is, when you're routing a tour, not always the dates you want are going to be available, right? So if April 3rd is not available, then these are your backup options. So you always want 2 days on either side. So let's say I reach out to Miami. Let's say we're playing at the Fillmore, and on April 1st, they're giving me a third hold. Then on April 2nd, they're giving me a fourth, so I'm going to do H. This is kind of how you want to write your holds. Then on April 3rd, your target date, you're going to get a fourth hold. On April 4th, you're going to get a third hold. And then on April 5th, you're going to get a fifth hold. So here's kind of how it starts, right? Then your next day is going to be Orlando. So if your target date in Miami was April 3rd, maybe April 4th is your target date in Orlando. And then kind of same process, right? You're getting holds for the 2 days before and the 2 days after your target date in Orlando. Let me write these down. And I'm just going to make up some quick holds here. So let's say these are all third holds. That's that part of the process, right? So let me go back to the slides. So next you have your holds, and you sent out the avails. So sending avails is just your artist is available and you're sending the dates that they're available out, that you're planning the tours around, right? Then you start asking for offers from all the venues that you held dates at. And when you start asking for offers, the first thing you do, you kind of send some parameters. So you go back to the whiteboard, start a new note over here. So parameters. Move this over. Oh, I guess I can't click back in an old one. That's a bummer. Sorry, still trying to figure out how to use this. There we go. All right, cool. So parameters. So kind of things you want to send to the venues is one, guarantee you're asking for, right? How much money do you want? What do you want ticket prices to be? The agents are going to send out how much you need for hospitality. And you want some info about the production. For example, how many buses and trucks is the tour? If it's a small club, you probably have no buses and trucks. They're probably traveling in a van and trailer, right? But if you're doing a show at the Fillmore, it could be, so Lizzo's coming there tomorrow, I think. So let's say Lizzo is coming to the Fillmore and she has 2 semi-trucks and 2 tour buses, right? Now your production gets bigger. And the reason the promoters need to notice, because there's a line item on the offers called stagehands. That's your production team. You just need to figure out like how many people need to work the show to run the sound, to load the gear, to run the lighting, the video, whatever there is. Is there any kind of rigging, right? That's kind of something you want to know too. How many rigging points is the show? Because the more rigging points you have, the more riggers you need. People that are hanging sound systems and lighting systems or giant video walls or whatever else is being hung from the ceiling of the venue. So these are some of the parameters you want. You might want to know how many runners do you need. So the runners are people going around running errands for the bands. What are some other big parameters that I want to know? Do we need to, and this you don't need to ask. So let's say you're on a promoter side, you don't need to ask if they're if they need backline provided. But if they do need backline provided, then the agent should be telling you that, hey, we need backline for this show. And for those of you that don't know what backlines usually are, the amps, drums, and keys, right? The artists will still bring their own guitars and own basses and horns, whatever it is. But it's usually really the amps, drums, keys, that's the key or the base of the backline. I'm gonna put etc. It could be other instruments as well. Let me see, is there any other parameters that we need to know? I think that's it. Those are the main ones, right? So these are some of the main parameters that you want to know before you start putting the offer together. So let me go back to the slides. So now that gives you an idea on what you need for the offer. You, the promoter or the talent buyer starts putting an offer together. They put together what's called a forecast. Let me add this in here. So offers/forecast. The forecast is kind of a projection, right? How many tickets do I think the show will sell and how much money can I make? So let me go back to the whiteboard. So let me start a new thing. See, can I add a new sheet? There we go. All right. So the forecast. So here's just like a quick example. Let's say I get a avail for a tour. I think it's going to sell 1,000 tickets. The agent is asking for a $25 ticket price. So I think the show sells 1,000 tickets times $25. That gives me a $25,000 gross potential, right? That's the potential gross that the show will make. Then I need to figure out what are my expenses. So venue or show expenses. And let's say the agent is asking for $15,000, right? Or 15K. I'm gonna start writing some things kind of in industry lingo, so you guys can start like learning what the lingo looks like. But they'll usually just write 15K instead of $15,000, or 15,000. So let's say I figure out my show expenses. I think my total expenses will be $10,000. That which covers things like security, hospitality, and catering. It covers the box office, your stagehands, production, Here's some other typical ones: cleaning, runners, royalties. So that's ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, and GMR. What did I just do? There we go. GMR. So for those of you that have been in music business one and didn't, for those of you that didn't have me last semester in a class, we haven't talked about GMR yet. So, or maybe we have, but just so you know, the 4 PROs, the Performing Rights Organizations, before it used to be 3, ASCAP, BMI, CSAC. GMR is a new one, and that's from Irvin Azoff. He started a new performing rights organization that are basically all artists that he's managed and he's worked with, and he basically negotiated like a different type of royalty for them and convince these artists to jump ship and join his PRO. So now there's 4 PROs that we're paying. Another one is insurance. This kind of covers your main expenses. I'm gonna put police, EMTs, and marketing. Haha, marketing. All right. So, so let's say your expenses are about $10,000, right? So, if your gross potential is 25 at 1,000 tickets, the agent's asking for 15. So let me make another thing here. So, your total expenses are $25,000, right? Because that includes the artist guarantee. That's a $10,000 for your show expenses plus 15 for the guarantee. That leaves no money on the table for the promoter. So what you want to do, you try to figure out what kind of money do you want to make, what kind of ROI, return on investment. So ROI. I'm gonna pitch a question to you, Joycelyn. You can put it in chat or you can unmute. But if you're risking $25,000, or if you're risking any money, what percentage is a good percentage to make on any kind of money that you risk? Like how much money, how much return do you want to get on your risk? Give it another second. Okay. So if you have a savings account, you're making 0.01% to 2.2% if you have a high savings account, right? Or a high interest earning savings account. If you are investing in bonds, you're maybe making 2 to 4% on your money, right? If you're investing in stocks, the average, we're not going to get deep into investing, but the average, if you're making good choices, you're making 8 to 12%, right? In stocks. And this is great. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea on what kind of ROI you're getting on your investment. So I say for promoters, it's a little different than stocks and bonds, right? It's kind of also a little bit like gambling. But if your ROI can be anywhere from 5 to 20%, you're doing great, right? And of course, you want to be on the high end. So when you're forecasting, this is kind of just my philosophy, I would forecast on trying to make a 20% ROI. So if you did some math, I'm just going to do it on a side calculator that you guys won't see, but my gross potential is $25,000 divided by 0.2. Wait, how am I doing this math? I've never done this math before. It's the first time I'm trying this, so bear with me for a second. Anyways, not a mathematician today. I'm sorry. Go back over here. So let's just say, for easy math, I want to make $2,000, right? So if I want to make $2,000, the max I can risk is 23, right? Because 23 plus 2 is 25. So I will counter offer So the agent asks for 15. I'm going to counteroffer. I know I want to make 2, but I also don't want the agent to come back and ask for more money. So I'm going to lowball first. I'm going to offer something a little bit less. I'm going to come in at 10,000. And then the agent might come back and say, can you do 14? And then you say, I can do 12. And then maybe you meet at 13. And sometimes in the music business, the it's not that much back and forth either. So you do kind of want to not nickel and dime, and you do want to be aggressive. So maybe if you have 15 or offer 10 and the agent comes back and you do 13, I mean, then you're at your goal, right? Or if I say 14, maybe you do it and you just make $1,000 on a $25,000 show, right? Or gross potential. The great thing is if your venue is bigger than 1,000 capacity, you can always make more money. So there's always room on the table for that. So that's kind of that process. Let me go back to the slide. There we go. All right. So that's the offer and forecast. All the venues and promoters send their offers to the agents. Then the agent consults and analyzes with the artist and manager. Of course, keeping in mind they have dates on hold and there's other holds in front of them. So we'd hope they're trying not to lose a date either, especially if they don't have first holds yet. Then as soon as they figure out which offers they want to accept, they challenge for the dates. So I erased the other slide already. Let's go back one more time to the whiteboard. Clear this real quick. Clear. So let's just say, I'm just going to put, let me see, we had April 1. I'm just going to make up holds real quick. All right. So let's say we're going to challenge our target date, right? So we challenge April 3rd. That's the date we want. So now what happens? So we're the 5th hold. We're the 5th person holding this date. So now the venue or promoter needs to notify the 4 people in front of your date that, hey, my 5th hold is ready to confirm. I can give you 24 to 48 hours to figure out if this is a date you want. If you're not ready to confirm, then I'm going to have to let this date go and give it to the person that's ready to confirm. That's kind of how that works. And just imagine this process is happening at 20 to 30 different cities, at 20 to 30 different venues all over the country. So agents are trying to move fast to clear dates, because if a date doesn't clear, then they have to kind of reroute their tour, and they're kind of back on the drawing board. So that's a challenge. Then once you've challenged dates and let's say it clears, so let me add this in here too. You challenge to clear, and then you go confirm your shows once all your dates have cleared and you've been moved to first hold. And then from there you figure out your announce date. You let the promoters and talent buyers know, hey, we're going to announce on this date, and we're going to go do these 3 different pre-sales. There's a fan club pre-sale, and then there's a MasterCard pre-sale, and then there's a Spotify pre-sale. And then the venue comes in and says, we want a venue pre-sale. So now you're 4 different pre-sales, and then those tickets get limited. There's only so many available per pre-sale, so there's actually some real tickets left on the actual on sale. But if you ever bought tickets for a show on the on sale right at 10 a.m. when it goes on sale and all the tickets are gone, that's why, because there's multiple different pre-sales now for every show. But yeah, that's kind of the booking process. What types of artists are touring? Of course, musicians and bands, right? Singers, songwriters. But then the touring industry right now is like really healthy and very strong. You have all types of talent touring. Yesterday I did a show with a comedian and Instagram influencer, Heather McMahon, really cool, fun, cool show. She's hilarious. You have YouTubers touring, podcasters are touring, speakers are touring, actors are touring. Of course, you have your Broadway shows, you have your big bands, you have your orchestras. There's so many things touring right now, and the touring business is really strong and really healthy, and it's actually kind of great for the clubs and the venues because they have all different types of genres and talent that they're bringing in, and they don't have to rely on the same person coming to the same club 3 or 5 nights out of the week, right? Because not everyone is trying to be in the music business, so not everyone's going to 3 to 5 shows a week like you all should be. Most people are going to 1 to 2 shows a year. So it's good to have variety, because if someone's going to 2 shows a year and you book the same genre every single day, you're not going to be able to keep a club or venue open for very long. So variety is good, and the touring business is strong. Why do artists tour? Many reasons, right? To connect with their fans, to build a stronger relationship with their fans, to make money, of course. Most of the money that talent makes is on the road. It's touring and playing shows, building an audience, making money from ticket sales and VIP experiences, money from sponsorships, money from merchandise. There's so many different ways to make money, and that's where most of the money is made, unless you're someone that's like a really, really good songwriter and you're writing like Max Martin level smash hits one after another, right? And have top 10, top 20 songs, or you're really having a lot of success in licensing, like licensing for commercials or TV shows or movies. So there is a lot of different ways to make money in the music business, but the majority of the artists make their money touring. So why do artists tour? That's how they make their living. That's how they connect with their fans. That's how they build a fan base. And it's fun. I mean, it's fun and adventurous to go travel the country and see different places and see different venues and get to do cool stuff. And the bigger the artist gets, the less work it becomes kind of for the artist, because you do have downtime and you are able to explore and see the cities a little bit. It's the people working for the artist that sometimes don't get to see that stuff because they're working from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. Those are super long days. And then the last thing, how do you measure success? I mean, pretty straightforward. You measure success from how many tickets did you sell, to how much money did you make in merch, how many people came to the show, what was your gross, right? How much gross money did the show make, how many new followers did you get on a specific social media platform, how many new people did you sign up for an email list. You kind of want to have 3 to 4 KPIs. Let me add this to the slide. So you want KPIs, right? Key performance indicators that help you measure the progress and success of your artist tours. So the ones I would use is, 1, how many tickets were sold, how much money do we make on merch, how many new people we add to our email list, and then how many people followed one specific social media platform. That's like your main platform. Those would be the 4 KPIs that I would use as an artist manager or someone working for an artist. So to make sure you have KPIs and always be measuring your KPIs or your success on your KPIs, and always figure out what was it that made one of the 4 KPIs you're measuring go backwards or forwards, and what can you do to improve that in the future. So even if at a small scale, if you play shows at local clubs and let's say you played a show and there's 20 people there and you sign up 10 free email lists. So that's 50% of the people that sign up for email list, and 2 bought a CD. So next time you play and there's 50 people there and let's say 20 sign up for email list and 5 bought a CD, right? Kind of analyze, what did you do different? How can you improve each one of these different KPIs? And that's what we're going to talk a lot about when we get into revenue streams later on in the class. But this should set a good foundation for you guys for promoters, talent buyers, and booking agents for our first module. So the module quiz, I'm going to send it out sometime tomorrow. And then it'll be due next week, Sunday by 11:59 for, I guess, 4 questions, but really 4 mathematic problems for the deals and settlements. So for those of you that had Music Business 2, again, we're going to do deals and settlements again, but you're only going to do the first 4 deals, not the promoter profit deal. We'll do that one very soon. And kind of what we're going to do in this course, it's kind of like an advanced deals and settlements course also, which is something that's really, really important in the music business. And if I had done this interview before the course started, it would have been required listening. So I guess it's suggested listening. Let me pull it up real quick. Let's see. But I just interviewed the Vice President of Touring and Executive Vice President of House of Blues Entertainment Talent for Live Nation. Her name's Kelly Capp, and she's awesome. Like, there's a new interview I did for the podcast. She speaks about her role. She's been in the music industry for 17 years. She booked over 800 shows per year. Here's kind of a list of artists she's worked with. Like, she's mostly in the rock and metal scene. She's worked with artists like Lamb of God, Killswitch Engage, Breaking Benjamin, Bring Me the Horizon, Dita Von Teese, Hanson, Frank Turner, Ambulance, so many more. So I really want to, if you want to learn about touring and the concert side of the business, I really want to encourage you guys to check this interview out. And for those of you that don't know, I have kind of like time signatures on when we speak about specific topics. So one of the important things, I think if you listened, you should listen to the whole thing, but if you listen from here, 41 minutes and 56 seconds to about, I'd say about here, you're going to learn a lot that is relevant to this course. So there's about like 30 minutes of listening that I would encourage you guys to check out. That'll be mandatory listening for future classes for concert touring. But if anybody has any questions, there's only one person on live. So if you have any questions, Joyce Align, type them in the chat or unmute your mic. And anybody else that's watching the archive, just send me a message on Canvas or an email, and I'll get to your questions ASAP. Just a quick note, I will be out of town this week on vacation, from AEG, from my my main job, but not necessarily vacation from class. So I'll still be available to all of you, but I may not be responding as quickly as I would like to, or as you would like me to. But that's it. Again, send me a message if you have any questions. Wish everyone a good and successful and healthy week. And as always, go see shows, meet people, make stuff. Have a good day or good night.